Good morning. This English speaking workshop is being organized and sponsored by the Institute for National Policy Research. You saw that, right? I welcome you as a group of highly selected individuals. I presume you are also very well self-motivated. Instead of going to Japan and spend all of your money lying up waiting for a program, you come here to learn something useful for your future. I congratulate you for coming here to do that. This particular type of forum, or sometimes we call it workshop, dated back over a decade ago. We have held in the past over 10 times, all speaking in Chinese. Only recently, going back to about 3 years ago, we began to institute an English speaking workshop for the summer program. Ambassador Wu stand up. Let us take a look at you. Ambassador Wu, stand up, please. Ambassador Wu, who was posted in many important foreign countries when he was in the foreign service. One of them was in Canada. He has been with the IMPR upon his retirement from the foreign services. He is very interested in organizing this type of activities, especially interested in learning and working with the young people. So I thank him for that. We also have among us some of our colleagues. They will speak to you later on, so I don't need to introduce them at this point, one by one. IMPR, or the Institute for National Policy Research, is a private think tank or research institution. Originally under different Chinese name, but nonetheless, IMPR as an English title has remained the same for 30 years, going back to the late 1980s. IMPR mission has been one of trying to organize programs for various types of people to join us for learning and to set up a kind of platform for interactions with international counterparts, as well as of developing various kinds of special programs to study them in order for the purpose of providing additional reference materials for the policy makers. In the 1990s, we focused on constitutional reform, and in the process, we also began to show our democratic achievement to the international community. More recently, we have been preoccupied more and more with the event in the world as well as in the Asia-Pacific region, or now referred to as the Indo-Pacific region. Namely, because the security problems across the world, particularly in this part of the world, has become very precarious. Therefore, we have spent a lot of time organizing one-day or half-day workshop. We also engage in bilateral as well as multilateral dialogues with counterparts in various countries, which is what we are doing now. Mostly focusing on broadly defined as a security issues. Today, we are not going to burden you with many complicated and detailed subject matter in connection with the security problems, our focus is on English. I think by saying by English, I don't mean to say that we only learn a language for the purpose of speaking only. English is a tool, but it also can serve as a tool for us to understand substance in various aspects important to our life as well as to our countries. I recall years ago when President Lai was a mayor of Tainan City, he began to advocate the necessity of employing English instruction in school. I'm sure he was not the only one, but he's the president, so I need to mention his name, right? So we are doing this in IPR here partly for the purpose of endorsing the government policies under Lai's leadership. Namely, we support and agree with him that learning English is increasingly becoming even more important than when he was a mayor of Tainan. That's why you are here. I think there are other reasons why I believe studying English is very important to all of you, particularly for the younger generation, people like yourself. We all know that English today, actually it has been, but today it's becoming even more so a very vital international language, may be considered to be the universal language today, particularly among the educated persons. It is the only language that has been broadly used in all countries' educated circles. You could go to France, you could go to India, you could go to Spain, you could go to Japan, you could speak their own languages, but in the event that they cannot communicate with you, I think in the final solution will be to resort to speaking some English, even broken English. At any rate, what I am saying is that English language is now broadly used in all countries, particularly among those who have some degree of education. English language can also be used and has been used as a tool for communication in various settings. For instance, international meetings. If you ever have a chance to go to an international meeting in the future, I'm sure you will have the chance to do so. International meetings are virtually conducted or being conducted by virtue of using English as a sole language for mutual interactions, or at least the most important among few international languages to be used in the settings of international meetings. You also will notice that some of the best known publications, whether they be written in Chinese or be written in Spanish or in other foreign languages, the only way a major publication, books or article that can gain international global recognition is that you must have an English version of that book or article. Without that, the readership will be confined to a much smaller circle. This is not the purpose of your publication. You want to help as many people read them as possible, and that's the only way to do that is by virtue of writing in English, if possible, or else writing in your own language, then translate it into English writing. There are many other ways that you can appreciate the importance of English language. I'm sure in your generation, social media has become vital to your life. Many programs in the social media, or you want to look into information by way of Google, etc. All of this means that you need to know the language to interact with the social media to get whatever you need to know. Again, English is the dominant language being used in the social media. Or else, in the event, if you're thinking about in the future going into business or going to banking service in the financial sector, or any subject matters that are related to finance and business, I can assure you that many of the deals and the negotiation about the deal have been conducted by and large by way of using English language. All of the contractual agreement, all of the negotiation, discussion in whatever format must be in one way or another put in English writing. Or else, when you have to travel or send your goods and cargo overseas, either by way of aviation or shipping, you can be rest assured that English is a necessity. Only then the ship and the airline know how to take you where is the destination. Today, more importantly, we live in a very technologically oriented world. In Taiwan in particular, I'm sure you have noticed the fact that two of the best-known personalities, Jensen Huang, ownership of NVIDIA, as well as Lisa Su Zufeng of AMD. By the way, both of them were born in Taiwan, in Hainan, to be specific. They were educated in the United States, and they came here, brought their incredible knowledge and invention and product to share with us in Taiwan, and declare that Taiwan is now the center of the new high-tech industry, namely namely artificial intelligence industry. So, in other words, in this new technological world, you will appreciate the fact that in the future, either you are using the PC or other form of vehicle, you will find out that AI has become a necessity. And all of the software, the most important one, are written in English. I think you should keep that in mind. For those of you who study international relations and having the ambition to want to serve in foreign service, for example, or even pursuing your NGO activities, non-official interaction with foreign countries, it is very important to remember that you talk to foreigners mostly in English. In the case of official interaction between governments or representative of governments, namely the diplomat, English language is an absolute requirement. Even among those who are doing non-official activities, you will find increasingly the only way you can relate to your friends or counterpart in Africa in South America, in Southeast Asia, or wherever you are, I think knowing English can carry you a long way and also make you more welcome and become a better person in establishing interpersonal relationship. All of this is to say that in practical world, in the future, wherever you contemplate in undertaking, you may find yourself in a position of having to not only write English, but more importantly, using your verbal expression in English. That can help you a lot. Now, some of you here, I understand that most of you here are undergraduate students. Could I ask you a question? How many of you at this point in your life are thinking perhaps in the next few years you want to study abroad? Please raise your hand. Your hands are so short. My eyes are not very good. I could not recognize it. Raise your hand higher. Okay, thank you. Very small minority, unfortunately. I think at the time when I was graduating from college, that was going back to ages. During those days, when you ask graduating students from universities, how many of you contemplate in studying abroad? Mostly United States, some Japan, some Europe, some Canada, a few Australia. I can assure you at that time, usually about 50 to 75% raise their hands. So in other words, there must be some reason for you to think that staying in Taiwan will be good enough. We have more graduate school, perhaps. Maybe the reason, or there may be jobs which are more available, so you don't need to go abroad to find an advanced degree for the purpose of coming home for better jobs. At any rate, I think the fact that at some point in time, you may go to foreign country to actually try to get an advanced degree, be that of a graduate degree or a degree in professional schools, such as law school, business schools, or medical school. Whichever you are thinking of doing may not be immediately a goal for yourself. You may want to work here as a medical doctor, as a business person, as a regular employee of a factory. Whatever you do after you graduate, you keep in mind at some point in time during your employment, you may be required, or you may want to volunteer, or going to have a further study in foreign countries. So what I am saying is that one way or another, upon graduating from colleges and universities, there will be opportunity or necessity for you to either pursue an advanced degrees in foreign countries or to go there even for some kind of short-term programs or visiting fellows and so on and so forth. So for all of these reasons, I think you will need to prepare yourself for the day when you have to apply your English speaking abilities. Or for more leisure reason, even if you want to go abroad for tourism, I think it is better to understand in writing where the toilet facilities are, right? Otherwise, you go to some countries in Africa, you probably don't know where they are. So at any event, what I am stressing is the fact that it is very crucial that in your generation in particular, that learning English, speaking English, the ability to speak English, even with a little bit of Taiwanese accent, is fine. After all, there are many dozens of ways of speaking English. Some of them called Indian English. Some of them called Singaporean Singlish. Some of them called Scottish English. Some of them called Southern United States English. Some of them refer to as South African English. And on. We can invent our Taiwanese way of speaking English. English, so far I'm mostly talking with you about the language as a tool for practical purposes. But it's really more than that. By virtue of using the foreign language, English, you can acquire substantive knowledge of importance to your life as well as to your career. I am interested in introducing you to pay attention to major events in the world today. One of them is increasingly precarious global as well as regional security problems. If you spend a certain amount of time at all, you will notice that there is a war going on in Europe. There's a war going on in the Middle East. There are potential military conflicts surrounding Taiwan in the Western Pacific and in the South China Sea. All of this means that there are many very, very difficult and important international events. Events that involve conflict, war, that are disruptive to our life, and disruptive to our material need, and so on and so forth. All of these events are going on. I submit that you perhaps need to learn much more about what's going on in those international and regional security events. And I think you can say that, well, I just read newspaper. I doubt how many of you actually read newspaper today. You probably spend most time reading your social media rather than the entire article printed in newspapers. But at any rate, or through whatever form, you will be called attention to the fact that many of those international, regional security matters that are of great importance to your life, you can get much better knowledge if you have the ability to read English, or sometimes even to listen to the podcast, to learn by way of listening rather than by way of writing. Nonetheless, English can help you as a tool for the better understanding of the substantive matters or the actual truths of what transpired hundreds or thousands of miles away in Ukraine, in the Middle East, between the Israeli and Arabs, and so on and so forth. All of this suggests that we need to know, you need to know in particular, that changing international security environment, that Taiwan is known to be located in one of the most precarious geographic locations. The second, and perhaps equally important, if no more, is the technological industrial revolutions that now are transpiring very much in front of you. It's just a question of whether or not you are aware of the fact that now the so-called fourth industrial technological revolution is going on, going back to the time when the steamboat was first invented for the purpose of navigation, enabling the United Kingdom to establish a global naval empire. From then until more recently, the inventions of computer, and now the AI and semiconductor chips. This, what we refer to as the fourth industrial or technological revolution. Jensen Huang liked to call it a new revolution. This is now. It is today. From now on, you're going to have to face the fact that the world today and in the future will be changed. And to change means that it requires you to know much better all of these technological content, their applications. And most of all, to learn about them require your access to the software. The software, by and large, are written in English, or if they are to be understood by people who don't know English, they need to be translated, which require additional work and cost involved. So in short, we are living at a time when artificial intelligence, semiconductor, quantum computing, drone, robotic operations, aerospace technologies, all of these things are changing. And you should know about that. You should know about them. You may want to work for them. And the best way to do that is you acquire the English language facility to better understand how all of them operate and to know more about their subject matters. The fourth industrial revolution, so-called, is going to carry on for some time to come. If I could call again Jensen Huang, whom I have great respect, I think he's simply one of the greatest, in some people call him the greatest person alive in the technological world. He has said that this AI-related new technological revolution is going to be with us in at least the next decade. At least a decade. The semiconductor industry enabled Taiwan to gain international recognition, to enable many people in Taiwan to have better life, a better job. Jensen Huang told us in his speech at National Taiwan University, he declared that while Taiwan semiconductor have been great for Taiwan in the last decade, but trust him, he said, the next 10 years will be AI, will be Jensen Huang's AI. All of this thing bring to home the fact that Jensen Huang or Lisa Su, both of them, even though they were born locally in Taiwan, but because of their ability to receive an advanced degree, one at Stanford, another at Yale, at MIT, sorry. They acquire not only the substantive knowledge of achieving what they are today, but above all, they all use English. They all use English. for anybody globally who want to understand what their products are, they must learn English to understand NVIDIA or AMD, two companies are headed by these two individual persons. Let me start here by saying that either looking at the international political, economic, and security environment as a whole, or look at more closely around us in the Indo-Pacific region, we see the world in somewhat chaotic situations. We see events are changing every day. We understand all of these things are happening before our eyes. I go to my office every day. I'm not sure, I go every morning very early. Once upon arrival, the first thing I do is to read New York Times for that day. The New York Times is always on my desk. It is printed in Taiwan, by the way. Okay. You take a quick survey of the New York Times, and you know roughly how many important things are happening in the last 24 hours. Okay. Could I do that just by reading 自由时报 or Level Bao? Yes, but in a much more limited way, because the local newspaper devotes so much spaces to discuss trivias in local events. My interest is more global and regional. I want to know what's going on in the world today, not just what happened in certain sectors of the Taiwan city. No. So you are here today to acquire the knowledge, and hopefully they can serve as a basis for you or to motivate you to continue further, to show your greater interest in learning more English, more sophisticated English in your writing and expression in the years ahead. At any rate, I appreciate the fact that this summer program has been finally organized. We have invited many talented, qualified speakers. In the next 3 days, they will spend time with you using English, discussing various subject matters, and hopefully in the process, you not only learn more about English expression, by which you learn more substantive subject matters. My advice to you is don't be shy. One of the commonly known in foreign graduate school is that students who attend some of the better graduate schools in foreign countries, in a seminar session, Taiwanese students have a tendency to stay quiet, even though they know a lot. You are shy. Today, don't be shy. Tomorrow, don't be shy. To be self-confident, to be willing to stand up expressing what you are thinking. This is the only way people understand what you are thinking. This is the only way you can raise your question for the speaker to answer. I'm not here to answer your questions. I'm sorry to say. I'm here to welcome you on behalf of IMPR in the hope that in the next 3 days, those programs, those speakers, interaction among yourself will prove to be very useful to you in whatever you do in the future. And perhaps next year, if we were to have one again, maybe you want to come back. I thank you for your listening. Okay, start it.
Now we have 20-minute break time. Please come back and be seated at 10:20.